Okay, we're live again for the last time. This is conversation one, and this is our topic review. Because of presentations, we ran out of time, and our exam starts next week, so I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of the topics that you have to cover for the interview. As you remember, there are 10 topics. You have to answer a question about one of the first 6 and 2 of the remaining 4, and then you're done. 10 minutes per person, and the schedule is on the Cyber Campus. Any other issues, please send me an email a few days before, unless there's some kind of emergency. All right, so the first topic that we did, I had you introduce yourselves on the first week of class, which, if you remember, it was like 4 months ago, and there was coronavirus, and so we were doing this stuff online. But we've been in person for a few months now, which is good, because I got to know you better since we got to talk person to person in class. Jobs. Everybody in our class is in university. I'm the only one who's got a full-time job, I think. So you've got to think about the future here. You're welcome to talk about a part-time job if you want. Be prepared to discuss every question needs to be detailed and organized. As I said, you needed to submit a file onto the Cyber Campus if you wanted detailed feedback. The time is up for you to do that, so I'm going to put all your grades up and your breakdowns if you gave me a file. If you didn't give me anything, then you're just going to get a flat grade. That's it. But don't think too much about the breakdown, because, as I said, being detailed and organized, and having a complete answer that is on topic. Right? If you go off topic, that's going to affect your score significantly. And you have to be coherent. You have to make sense. You have to be calm. You have to be confident. Right? The way you present yourself. Be confident and relaxed. All these things are taken into account, and it's not like you're going to dramatically improve your pronunciation or your grammar overnight. So be well prepared. That's the most important thing. So choose any job that you're interested in and explain to me in detail why you think that job is interesting, why you're interested in it, okay? Or why you're doing it, if that's a part-time job. Second question, we were talking about traveling, going different places, and just dividing, the way that you travel into 2 general types. Of course, you can do both, but as we discussed in class, traveling tends to be more independent and individualistic, less people, less organized, whereas a tourist will normally have a guide and go in a big group and use an agency. A lot of it has to do with not so much which places you go, but how you do it, right? Your style of traveling. So choose which one you would rather do and tell me why. Number 3, you have to choose one, I said basically 2 international cities. If you're Korean, it could be one Korean city or a city from another country. Or if you want to choose 2 cities from countries anywhere, as long as they're not in the same country. That's the rule, okay? So two cities from different countries, internationally well-known cities, work better. If the cities are completely different, then there's nothing really similar for you to say. It's better to choose comparable cities, at least in some sense, like, their size, their importance, their capitals, their type of entertainment, or their culture, or their food, or their even something proximity, like Tokyo and Seoul are sort of naturally comparable places, both capital cities in East Asia. So choose something that there's got to be some, parallels and some similarities. If they're completely different, like it's a ruined, village in the Italian mountains, and you're talking about London, England, then you're not going to have much to say about the similarities. So you should be able to compare, which means similarities and differences. Okay. Wildlife is chapter 4, the fourth question. I left it up to you. You could talk about wildlife. You could talk about animals, endangered species, or you can talk about the environment too. This is actually, in the textbook it says wildlife, but I expanded it because some people just don't know very much about animals or not that interested, but we do have to care about our environment. We have to care about our planet. So anything related to animals or plants or oceans or environmental issues, as long as it is related to nature, not human beings and cities and technology, then you're on topic. Same goes for sports. Some people aren't that interested in sports. If you want to talk about playing sports or watching or sports business or famous athletes, whatever, if you want to say why you don't like sports, it's fine as long as you stay on topic. Like I said, it can be positive or negative approach to the topic. It doesn't matter. The sixth topic was about luck, and there's different things. Sometimes people do rituals, some people do ceremonies, some people just look at the night sky and see a falling star and make a wish. Some people have charms. They have things they bring with them to bring them good luck, or they have behaviors that give them good luck. There's lots of examples in different cultures, historical examples. We talked about Friday the 13th in class, how the horror movie really isn't that related to the original meaning of Friday the 13th at all. So choose whatever bad luck or good luck thing that you want to explain, and then make sure you give details and tell me why it's a significant thing. All right, moving on. So these are the new questions. That's all the questions from the midterm, just one of those. Next, the seventh topic is about hobbies. It says in the book, just my favorite things. It's a very general thing, but I would like to narrow it down to hobbies. So a hobby has to be something that's got some sort of activity, right? It can be collecting something, it can be doing something. Remember, something that, helps you develop, okay? I think that was the key word we used in classes. You want something that shows that you're doing something and making some kind of progress, adding something, not just passing time, right? Just doing something to make the time go faster, something that doesn't really give you any skills or produce anything. All of those things are kind of relevant ways of defining a hobby. So it has to be something that is related to those things. Chapter 8, I'm thinking this is where we ended up we were focusing on presentations, so we stopped talking about these things in class. So you should pay attention here. I'm going to keep this very simple. Things are memorable. We all have memories of certain things. I would like you to just pick a memory, something perhaps from your childhood because you're young, something that you remember clearly, and it might be something that you have strong feelings about. So don't choose something that's makes you very unhappy or sad or frustrating or scared or traumatized. All those emotions, if they come back when you're telling the story, make it hard for you to have a good interview. So avoid really strong emotions if the memory causes that. Otherwise, choose whatever memory you want. It's up to you. You only have a couple of minutes to say what happened. And again, of course, I want you to say, well, why do you think you remembered that so well? Why is that memory important to you? You can explain it to me. Chapter 9 is actually called in the textbook, I Love Chocolate, but I'm going to change it somewhat to obsession. And this might include, for some people, addiction. They're not the same thing, though. Being obsessed with something is a very strong attachment to it, which makes it difficult to focus. But an addiction usually is, there's different kinds of addiction. There's mental addiction and there's physical addiction, emotional. If you're physically addicted to something and you stop, for example, you smoke cigarettes, right? People who smoke a lot, if they stop, they get physically sick, right? You can be mentally addicted to something so that you become physically sick as well, but it's not a chemical or physical reaction that is connected to a physical chemical addiction. So, you can be mentally addicted to something, and then you can get anxiety and you get shakes and stuff because you really, really want it, because you're very, very too over committed to that thing. But generally, physical addictions are more dangerous, because if you are dependent on something to that level, when you stop doing it, then you get, you have health problems. It just doesn't make you feel agitated or worried or anxious or you can't sleep. It's sometimes almost life-threatening, right? So certain things you can be really addicted to. If you can't stop, like if you need your coffee or you're going to be in a horrible mood all day, you might argue that you're addicted to it, okay? Obsessed, though, is something like you love something and you think about it all the time, but you still have an element of control. So whatever it is, you can say I love shopping, you can say I love chocolate, you can say I'm addicted to coffee, or I'm addicted to computer games. We all know that's actually a real thing. And computer games are designed to be addictive, right? People end up thinking about those games and playing them without having any concept of how time is passing outside their experience. So they end up sometimes losing their jobs or having family problems or breaking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend because they focus on the game so much that they ruin their relationships. Those are addictive behaviors for sure. So choose something that is it doesn't have to be you, by the way. You can give an example, but I think it's easier if you talk about yourself or you talk about your friend or something like that. You can pretend that it's not you and say, I have this friend. That's a common strategy we use in Canada and America. Is, I have this friend who's so addicted to video games, he won't stop. What do you think how can I get him to take a break and stop focusing on the game so much? And you're really talking about yourself. Okay. Helping other other people. You can give any example in which you support somebody else. Okay. It can be to your friend, to your classmate, to a stranger. Doesn't matter. Helping somebody who's an old person. Whatever behavior it is, you need to. The example has to be long enough, though, at least a minute and a half long. So don't choose just something that's like 3 sentences. You do need to have an answer that's long enough that I can listen to your vocabulary and your sentence structure, and I can grade you properly. So just don't say, one day I helped an old lady get on the bus, the end. That can't be an answer. You have to, speak for, like I said, about a minute and a half, at least 2 minutes or so. Okay? So if you have an example, it could be, maybe just one action isn't good enough. Maybe it has to be some volunteering you did every week or over some period, over one school year, or maybe it's something that it can be something that you do with your family, right? It's some responsibilities. Maybe you do the chores at home. You can tell me whatever it is. Whatever thing you do to help somebody. As long as it's not a selfish thing, you're helping somebody else. That's it. I hope all of you can think of an example where you help other people. If you can't think of something recent, maybe that means that you should try and help other people more often. Okay? So that's it. Volunteering, donations, doing your chores, taking responsibility, helping strangers, whatever. That is the last topic. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else to discuss. So I will see you in the interview. As you know, 3 questions. The exam is really important, and I'll be finishing up grading the presentations this weekend, and I'll send all the grades out when that's done. Okay? So yeah, next Monday I'll see some of you, half of you, and the rest of you on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. It's the 13th and the 20th, I think. Right? What's today? 7th. Yeah. The 13th, no, that's not right. I'm in May, that's why. June. The 13th and the 20th, that was right. Okay. See you, half of you on the 13th and the other half on the 20th. Make sure you check your schedule when you come early. Thank you for listening. Good luck in all your exams.